One thing that we're all looking for in life is happiness, right? Happiness that is lasting, contentment, satisfaction. And this is good. This is one of the longings of the human heart. God has designed us with this. So what is it that you're looking to for happiness? Well, that will be found in how you answer this question. I'll be happy when. Now, whatever that is what you're probably looking to for happiness. This is where the idea of idols comes in. Remember, an idol is anything that we are dependent upon for the deepest needs of our hearts. So we can be dependent upon many different things in order to make us happy. So let's look at what some of these things might be. Let's start with the first one, relationships. We often look towards a love relationship or friends to find happiness. George Sand has said there's only one happiness in this life, to love and to be loved. Or some of us look to just sheer pleasure. We look to sex. I'll be happy when I have sex. Or porn. Or I'll be happy when I can get drunk this weekend. Or drugs. Sometimes media like movies or music or social media. Or even food. You know, when I can finally eat some pizza, I'll be happy. Eminem, he said, don't do drugs, don't be violent, leave that to me. It's a good example of finding our happiness in things that are sensual. Or how about possessions? I'll be happy when I finally have enough money. Or when I have a new car, or I have those new shoes. Possessions. Or activities. What really makes me happy is when I get to whatever your activity is. Or perhaps art or music. Or sports. I'll be happy when I can finally make the football team. Or travel. I'll be happy when I make it to Rome. Or Italy. It's interesting that the Rolling Stones at the height of their career wrote a song, and the words go like this: I can't get no satisfaction, though I try and I try. Here they had everything, but weren't satisfied. Or success. I'll be happy when I finally get that career. Or when I finally get straight A's. Or maybe it's a certain position. When I make CEO of the company, then I'll be happy. Albert Einstein had this idea when he said, if you want to live a happy life, tie it to a goal, not to people or things. Some of us find happiness in physical appearance, like the clothes that we wear, and so we spend a lot of time shopping. Or maybe our physique. I'll be happy when I can lose 30 pounds. Or beauty. There's a website called StopTheBeautyMadness.com, which helps young ladies not depend really on their beauty for their happiness. And there's this quote from that site that says, what do I want to be when I grow up? Pretty. So there's all these things that we can look to for happiness. But the sad fact is, none of these things delivers happiness, at least not for any significant amount of time. So what are we to do? Well, there's some typical responses that people have when they don't get that thing that they're looking to for happiness. Here's a few of them. The first is the young approach, and that goes something like this. Happiness is out there, and I'm going to find it. As soon as I get that career, as soon as I get married, then I'm going to be happy. The danger in this is that, sad to say, disappointment awaits you. Marriage is good, but it won't bring you ultimate happiness. A career is good, but it's really not going to satisfy your heart. The next approach is the angry approach. This one is much more dismal, and that goes like this. You know, I would have gotten that job if it weren't for that jerk Johnson, or whatever. You blame other people because you didn't get that thing you thought was going to make you happy. And the danger in this is that bitterness and resentment result, and that's like poison meant for somebody else that you take yourself. Or how about the driven approach? The driven approach goes something like this. You know, I tried it in my first marriage and it didn't work. I tried it with my first career or job, it didn't work. So I'm going to keep trying. My second marriage, this is what's going to make me happy. Or I'm going to get a different job, a totally different career, and then I'll be happy. The problem with this is years go by and nothing works. And so you end up looking back at your past, at a lot of broken relationships, a lot of lost opportunities, and there's regret. Things only get worse with the despair approach. With the despair approach, the person starts thinking, you know, there must be something wrong with me. I look around and I see that so many people are happy, but I'm not happy. I've tried so many different things, there must be something wrong with me. Well, the danger to this is you go from discouragement to depression, and then to despair, probably medication. It's no way to live life. There's also the fatalistic approach, and that goes something like this. You start to think, you know what, it's just not out there. True lasting contentment just doesn't exist. And so you become somewhat cynical towards other people that appear to be happy. You think, yeah, they're happy now, but wait till that relationship falls apart. The last approach is the detached approach. Now this is popular amongst those that have sort of a Buddhist thinking, or the Stoics were popular for this thinking, and the idea is that, you know what, it's my desires that are the problem. I need to get rid of those. Just the desire to be happy altogether. Now that might sound good, but if you actually live that out, it's disastrous. You see, we were designed for love, we were designed for intimacy, and when we detach ourselves from even that desire to be happy, we can become cold-hearted and almost dead inside. It's really dehumanizing. C.S. Lewis says, "Creatures are not born with desires unless satisfaction for these desires exist. A baby feels hunger. Well, there's such a thing as food. A duckling wants to swim. Well, there's such a thing as water. Men feel sexual desire. Well, there's such a thing as sex. If I find in myself a desire which no experience in this world can satisfy, the most probable explanation is that I was made for another world." So what do we do about this? Which approach should we take? Well, I would suggest none of them. C.S. Lewis was right. We have desires for lasting satisfaction, but there's nothing in this world that can satisfy us in a lasting way. Therefore, we must find it in another world. So what's the answer? It's love. It's love. That's the answer. The answer to lasting happiness is love, but it's love from a specific type of person. First, this love must be from a person. That's what's truly going to satisfy. So it can't be from a pet, for example. It must be from someone you highly respect, somebody that has authority. It must be love from someone who knows you deeply and loves you anyway, despite your faults. It also must be from somebody that you do not have to perform for in order to gain their love. And it must be love from someone that you cannot lose. They will never die, and they will never leave you. It needs to be an undeserved love. Love from a person like this is what will truly satisfy your heart. So what kind of person from another world can love you like this? There's only one place in the universe, and that is from Jesus. The love of Jesus is undeserved, it's unconditional, it is not based on any of your performance, and it's despite anything bad that you've done. He loves you to the fullest. And if you have closeness with Him, intimacy with Him, you'll have lasting happiness. Listen to some of the words of Jesus. He says, "If you abide in me and my words abide in you, ask whatever you wish and it will be done for you. My Father is glorified in this, that you bear much fruit, and so prove to be my disciples. Just as the Father has loved me, I have also loved you. Abide in my love. If you keep my commandments, you will abide in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. These things I have spoken to you, so that my joy may be in you, and that your joy may be full." Remember, an idol is anything that we are dependent upon for the deepest needs of our hearts. So what are you depending on? What are you trusting in or looking towards in order to be happy? Is it Jesus and your relationship with him and his love? If so, you're going to be happy. If not, it could be an idol. So here's a few questions to consider that will help to reveal what you're trusting in for your happiness. What do you feel like you have to be happy? What would you have a hard time giving up for a month? What do you do when you're stressed out or depressed? What do you do to avoid the things you don't want to do? What do you think about in the middle of the night or when you first wake up in the morning? What do you spend a lot of time on each day? Whatever that thing is, I would humbly ask that you exchange that. Exchange that for the love of Christ. Instead, spend time with Christ in his word, connect with him in a real way through prayer, and you'll experience the love of Christ. And then you'll finally be happy.